Afternoon.
This has been impactful for me, and I know it has been for you too. This is a topic that if you grew up in this community, like all of us have, then this is something that, as Mr. Bay said, this is not normal, but unfortunately, it can seem like it is. I grew up in North Braddock. I am a 2005 graduate of Woodland Hills High School, and I'm happy to be back home. And when I got a message from young people asking me to speak here, this is the one that made me most worried. Because I speak to people a lot because I'm running for state representative. So we're talking today about what can young people do and how do young people fit into this movement when we have a society that basically spends most of its time trying to make y'all feel like y'all don't have any power or like your voices don't matter. So I would like to first say that that is absolutely untrue. And it's so untrue that this country, this society is so worried about where this generation is going to go next and so worried about what this generation is going to do that they are scrambling. There are politicians right now who are calling children bad names and speaking out badly about kids who are braver than them to show up and call for change. And it's been impressive, but I'll say that since I decided to run, and just a little bit about me, because I grew up in North Braddock, I walked through these halls just like y'all, and at no point in time in my life since I was in high school had I ever met a politician. How many of you all have ever met somebody who represents you in government? How many of y'all know those people personally? Like you know someone who represents you in government? Not many of us. And to the young lady to the young man who just said that I would like to write a letter to my superiors. We need a narrative change. They're not your superiors, they're your servants. Your public servants, your government is here to represent you, which means that actually you have all the power. So I decided to run because I look at my community and the communities that I grew up in, and I don't see people like me and people like you representing us. It sometimes seems like our government officials are separate and apart from us. Like, we don't actually know them. We don't know anything about them. They don't seem to come from our neighborhoods. They're not our neighbors. So I came here today because I want to talk to y'all about what do we do with this power that we have in this room? Because believe it or not, y'all have so much power.
Yep.
And I want to also say that the movement as it's happened so far is so noble. We're all impressed by what's been happening at Parkland. But let's be real, how many of y'all were fed up before Parkland happened? How many of y'all were affected by gun violence before Parkland happened? Everybody in this room was affected before Parkland happened. Everybody in this room has talked about how they're tired of what's going on in the streets, how they're tired about gun violence, how they want to do something about it. And right now, don't be fooled. Even when we talk about banning assault rifles, if we ban an assault rifle, that's not going to change your everyday lives, because I bet not many of you even know somebody who was a victim of assault rifle violence. The violence that we know growing up in our community, handgun violence. That's handgun violence. No one's talking about banning that. Nobody is talking about meeting the needs of the communities so that we can come up with a real remedy for gun violence. Because every kid on those chairs right there, they weren't killed by somebody with mental health issues as we know it, who came and opened fire. They were killed in their day-to-day lives because poverty and violence go hand in hand. They were killed because we live in a society where some communities have fewer resources than other communities, where some schools have more resources than other schools. So if you go to a school or if you live in a community that doesn't have access to after-school programs, or you guys don't have access to good jobs, because we need jobs, right? But we haven't raised the minimum wage since 2006. So you guys are trying to figure out what are the positive things that I can do when I get out of school at 210. Because not everybody here has something positive to go home to at 210. We have to talk about how do we change the narrative in our community and how do we seize control of our community so that we get the things that we need. So I want to urge you to do something. I don't want to talk about me, I want to talk about y'all. How many of y'all here are or will be 18 this year? How many? Keep your hands up if you're registered to vote. I saw some hands go down. We talk about elections as if it's only the president. The president is not the only person who matters. Today, you guys are writing a letter to your state representatives. I'm running to be your state representative, which means that you guys have to say whether you can vote or not. You're writing letters to your state senators, to your mayors, to your congressmen. You can also vote for them. And you can vote for them before May, before November. You can vote for them in May. And some of the people who spoke before us have told you, every movement in this country has been led by young people. Every single one. When this country needed to change, when we had segregation, when black folk were being killed, it was kids who left up out of their school and marched into jailhouses because they cared that much about changing this country. And the country had to look. When we had to look every day on the news and we saw kids being hosed down, and we saw kids who said that this is enough, it changed. So I want to encourage every kid in here to know how much power you have right now. Don't take that for granted and don't let that slip away. People are listening to you. I think that everybody, if you haven't already signed the petition that Ms. Karras is passing around, sign the petition because they need to know how you feel about this. But also they need to know that you were here before Parkland was here. They need to know that Woodland Hills has a violence problem, but Woodland Hills also has so much good in here going on. There are so many good things that come out of here, but we want to be able to make it out of here too. So I encourage every kid who's 18, please register to vote. And in May, on May 15th, turn out to vote. Ask questions. If your politician didn't come here today, invite them, call them, ask them why they didn't come here today to listen to what y'all want to know. Because right now in the State House, they're voting on whether your teachers, your little English teachers should be able to carry a gun. Because we don't have enough gun violence, right? They want your teachers to be able to carry guns. Let them know how you feel about it. If you like it, fine, tell them. If you don't like it, let them know. Let them know what you want in your school because you're affected by this more than anybody else. So I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for your leadership. Because right now, it shouldn't be kids who are leading us. It shouldn't be.
Speak.
But for the most part, when kids do it, it gets done. So I will ask you, I'm sorry that adults have failed you, that adults have failed our society, and it shouldn't be your burden. But if you got a little bit more oomph, please keep going. Because we need your voices, we need your participation, and we need you guys to show this country what is right and what is wrong. Because without you guys, I don't see this changing much faster. So thank you all so much. Thank you for your attention, and let's get this done.